The road was quiet. Too quiet. The presidential convoy moved slowly through the darkness, headlights cutting through the dust like knives. The president sat in the back seat, reading briefing notes he had already memorized. His mind was elsewhere. The country was tense. Elections were coming. Militants had been growing bolder in the northern region. Still, this route had been cleared. At least, that was what the security report said. The first explosion came without warning. The ground lifted. The lead vehicle disappeared in fire. Screams tore through the night. Gunfire followed, short, controlled bursts. Not random. Professional. The convoy was under attack. Soldiers returned fire, but the militants were everywhere. From the trees. From the rocks. From the darkness itself. Smoke swallowed the road. Radios crackled with panic. Protect the president. The doors were forced open. The president was dragged out, blindfolded, hands tied. He struggled, but strong arms held him down. Someone whispered in his ear, "Your soldiers are brave, but tonight they lose." Then the militants vanished. By morning the news had spread. The president had been kidnapped. The nation woke up afraid. Markets were silent. Radios played the same sentence over and over again. Mothers pulled children closer. Men argued in hushed voices. And deep inside military headquarters, a different kind of silence fell. The kind that comes before war. Colonel Musa Adeyemi had not slept. He stood before the map, arms crossed, eyes tired but sharp. He had served for 26 years. Desert campaigns, jungle operations, peacekeeping missions that never felt peaceful. This one was different. The defense chief spoke plainly. "We don't negotiate. We don't announce. We extract." The unit was small. 6 men. No medals. No press. No names. Only results. First was Sergeant Daniel Okiri, the youngest. 24. Fresh scars. Quick reflexes. Still believed courage could defeat fear. Next, Corporal Bako Idris, the sniper. Quiet. Never spoke unless necessary. His rifle was older than some soldiers, but it had never failed him. Lieutenant Samuel Mensah, communications and navigation. Calm under pressure. A wife and a newborn daughter he had not yet held. Private Ibrahim Sadiq, explosives and tracking. Grew up near the same forest the militants now controlled. Warrant Officer Thomas Kalu, medic. Hands steady even when bullets flew. Had seen too many men die. And finally, Colonel Musa himself. He looked at them. "This mission does not exist," he said. "If we fail, the nation will deny we were ever sent." No one spoke. They all understood. Some missions were not meant to be survived. They moved at night. No lights. No signals. Only the stars and the sound of their own breathing. The terrain changed constantly. Dry land became swamp. Swamp became forest. The heat pressed down like a hand on the chest. They rationed water. They shared jokes and whispers. They argued quietly about football teams. Small talk to keep fear away. At night when they rested, memories came. Mensah thought of his wife, sleeping alone. Daniel remembered his mother's voice telling him to be careful. Musa remembered friends whose names were now carved in stone. On the 5th day, Ibrahim stopped suddenly. "Tracks," he whispered. "Militant boots. Heavy weapons. Recent. They were close." A drone feed confirmed it. A hidden camp deep in the forest. Guard towers. Armed men. Children carrying rifles too big for their shoulders. And in the center, one small hut. The president was alive. But barely. They watched the camp for hours. Guard shifts. Patrol routes. Weak points. There were many militants. Too many. "This is suicide," Daniel whispered. Musa looked at him. "Yes," he said calmly. "But it is our suicide." The plan was simple. Too simple. Bako would take the towers. Silent shots. One by one. Ibrahim would clear the traps. Mensah would keep the radio alive. Kalu would stay with the president. Daniel and Musa would lead the extraction. If anything went wrong, it did. A child soldier spotted movement. A shout. Gunfire exploded. The night turned red. Bako dropped 2 men before alarms rang out. Ibrahim cleared a path but took a bullet in the leg. He kept moving. Musa was hit in the shoulder. He ignored it. They reached the hut. Inside, the president lay on the floor. Thin. Bruised. Alive. When he saw the soldiers, his eyes filled with tears. "They came," he whispered. "You came." "There's no time," Musa said. As they moved, militants closed in. A grenade landed near them. Daniel didn't think. He jumped. The explosion threw his body against the trees. Silence followed. They kept moving, because that was the rule. They carried the president through gunfire and rain. Bako covered them until his rifle jammed. He switched to his pistol and kept firing. Ibrahim collapsed from blood loss. Kalu dragged him. Mensa screamed into the radio for extraction. Helicopter blades cut through the sky like thunder. The militants fired wildly. Musa turned back. He knew what he had to do. He stayed behind. The helicopter lifted. The last thing they saw was Musa standing alone, firing into the dark. The president returned. The nation celebrated. Flags waved. Speeches were made. But no names were spoken. Daniel was buried quietly. Musa was listed as missing. Families were given folded flags. No cameras. No applause. Only silence. And peace. Because somewhere in the dark, African soldiers had paid the price. History remembers leaders. But nations are protected by men whose names fade into the soil. They walked into hell, so millions could sleep.